This is a book review of the Avengers Epic Collection, Volume 3, 1967 to 1968, and includes a variety of stories: Avengers 41-56, Annuals 1-2, X-Men 45, and Not Brand X 5 and 8. Now, this came out in 2017. It's listed as The Masters of Evil, who, for a fairly prominent story. There's the Masters of Evil, Black Knight coming to the rescue. Brilliant volume. Now, mainly John Buscema, but there's a few other artists as well involved, and I'll just quickly mention the names: Don Heck, Werner Roth, George Tusker, and Gene Colan. Of course, Roy Thomas and Gary Friedrich did most of the writing. So you've got the Avengers. This was just a classic period of Avengers. They faced some really awesome villains, and I loved this. So you got initially Diablo. Now, not particularly the world's greatest, but Dragon Man is pretty good. And a brilliant scene here of Herc throwing some weights around, as you do, of course. But it's just great. You've got the Black Widows in the stories. There's like a communist threat, and that is a bit later with the Red Guardian. But Diablo story, brilliant tale. And colour him Red Guardian. I love this bit. Destined to be the most talked about supervillain of the year. Who's heard of him now? The Red Guardian. Probably saying that, he'll probably be in the next film. Anyway, you've got good story. Obviously, he's like a super soldier, like Captain America. It's a real good yarn. But this is probably the epic here. Well, there's a couple of really great stories. The King Size Annual. King Size Special, as it's called. Never ever certain what they really called them. Avengers Special, Annual, who knows? It's got the Mandarin, Power Man, Living Laser, Executioner, Enchantress, and the Swordsman, obviously, who eventually went on to become a hero. No, probably Power Man did as well, for all I know. And even the Mandarin's probably become a hero now, for all I know. But this is a brilliant story. It's got one of those stories where you split the Avengers apart. You've got the different villains in different locations, but it's Mandarin behind the whole lot. Now, Mandarin doesn't appear much now, but you've got still a great story. And also, not only that, it's got a lovely biography here, The Bullpen, as well as Hercules Pit Up, no less. And also got the brilliant layout of the Avengers Mansion. So all the villains can study it and say, right, well, that's the study with the countless tapes, films and books where all the information is. Meeting room, lovely pin up there of the Avengers, the original and the new. Then Avengers 45. That was Super Adaptoid, who of course originally was in the Captain America, whose name, just brilliant. I loved Super Adaptoid because he could get the powers of all the various people, like Thor, etc. Didn't keep him particularly long, but he had them for a while. And of course he was the X-Men as well. I think a number of other comics as well. Great. I don't know if he ever appeared against Fantastic Four. Don't think so. Anyway, Agony and the Anthill. You got Whirlwind. Now, originally he was the human top in the Tales to Astonish against Giant Man and the Wasp. And it's a really good story. Of course, the Quicksilver, you got here, obviously is a great opponent for the Whirlwind. Then you've got Magneto. Magneto turns up again. And it's great to see. He's still obviously, because of the Stranger. Good old Stranger. Magneto walks the earth. That's the title. Brilliant. Love Magneto, so it's always good to see him. And of course, you've got going back to Olympus. And you've got the Black Knight. Messing things up. Typhoon. Typhoon turns up. Magneto again. Just great stories and just brilliant artwork. Magneto, he's returned as he goes with his usual plans to rule the world. And you got this one, issue 50, what a pretty decent one. Now I must admit, Typhoon never really was a brilliant villain, but he's obviously pretty powerful. So that's all Olympus. And then you've got the Collector. Collector, great character, one of the elders of the universe. And I'm glad that my Amazon device doesn't know that. Whatever it doesn't know. Comes up weird comments occasionally. So you've got the Collector, brilliant stories. He turns up later in, obviously, Avengers 119. Then you've got Black Panther. Now this is where Black Panther joins the Avengers, and great character. Of course, actually just watching the film at the moment, Black Panther film, finally. Just got around to it, out of order, because I've seen the Avengers film. So, but no, it's really good. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And you've got the Grim Reaper. There's a brilliant story here, which is sort of in between story, because you've got the X-Men, senses shattering Cyclops. And it's good. It's a good story with Angel and Red Raven, of course, who was in the original, one of the earliest timely comics, Red Raven comics, #1, one of the rarest comics around. So you got the Avengers, misunderstandings, the usual sort of thing, Magneto, again, brilliant stuff. Then to the Masters of Evil. Now, not the Masters of Evil that were in the originals, the original Avengers. You've got no Zemo anymore. You've got good old Whirlwind, got the Melter though, Radioactive Man, and you've got Claw. And the Avengers are all chained in front of them. That's great. And you've got the Black Knight, of course. It's just great, great stories. Mayhem over Manhattan. So there's quite a few stories. And of course, this blends into one of the villains that sort of ended up dominating vast amounts of Avengers stories, and that's Ultron. Great character. Of course, Ultron kept on getting more and more powers, become cosmic, become this. Who knows? I'm surprised he hasn't taken over from Galactus yet. But he's a great character, all the same. But the next thing is the brilliant Avengers Annual 2, as well as Avengers 56. I love that. The bit where they're standing in front of the castle, there's this castle scene. Death be not proud. As it always is. Roy Thomas, John Buscema, brilliant. And you got the lovely story, goes into the original Avengers. Brilliant. See, the Hulk, of course. No Captain America at this point, because obviously this was before Avengers 4. And you got Captain America and obviously the new Avengers. And they battle. And it's a good story. There's obviously, it's a great conflict all the way through. And then finally, you go all the way to the end. Not going to spoil it. Got a great pin-up page. Got some parodies, not brand ek. Now, lots of people complain about these because they're just basically fillers. Because a lot of people, of course, have got probably the complete collection now, all the Marvel Masterwork. So, good stories though. And you got some good old bonus material at the back. Marvel Triple Action. And I love those Marvel Triple Actions. Actually, they were the original source for me of the Avenger comics, because in the UK, you didn't really have, well, I certainly didn't have access until later, lots of the originals. So these reprints were great sources, as well as, of course, the Avengers Weekly that we had. And that's it. Absolutely brilliant, epic collection. Really worth checking out. I say volume 3 of the Avengers.